Has your doctor recently told you to start plant-based eating or to change your way of eating because you needed to turn around your health? That's great advice, but then that doctor gave you no guidance on how to actually do it. Frustrating, isn't it? You want to make this change, but then you're left to figure it all out on your own. Well, no more of that. Let's talk today about 3 simple strategies you can use to help you build the best nutrition as you move to plant-based eating. And even if you're just considering this lifestyle change at the moment, you can still easily use these 3 simple, smart strategies to guide you towards building good nutrition. So listen in now to find out how you can nourish your body and transform your health the right way using plant-based foods. You don't want to miss this. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. Hi friend, thanks for joining me today. I know it's not easy to live with that constant burden and pressure of a potentially life-threatening health issue weighing down on you. Perhaps it's having high cholesterol and facing the possibility of yet another heart attack or stroke, or uncontrolled high blood sugars, or high blood pressure readings. I remember feeling a similar way when our daughter was seen by a specialist and given the possible diagnosis of an autoimmune disease. There were still follow-up tests and blood work to be done, but at the time, the signs and symptoms seemed to point in that direction. Not only was my husband and I in shock at this news, but I remember feeling the sheer heavy weight of this possible diagnosis falling like an immovable burden on my shoulders. The weight of this diagnosis and what it would mean for my daughter and our family was something I just couldn't shake off easily. How I wished at the time that things could just go back to how it was, to those carefree days when her health was not an issue, and to stop the feeling of helplessness. Thankfully, after further blood work and seeing another specialist, this diagnosis did not become a reality. But still, I remember that vivid period of time where her health was foremost in our minds. Maybe you're burdened by constant thoughts of your own health and of trying to get better. You're finding it exhausting looking up different treatment solutions, trying out multiple diets, and just want to stop being anxious about your current body and worrying about your future health if things don't change. If this is how you're feeling, that same worry and anxiousness, I want to be a support for you and help you regain your health. I want you to be able to enjoy life and start living fully and get on to those other important things you've been putting off. Reach out to me using the contact info provided in the show notes to find out how I can support you in your plant-based diet transition to reach your desired health and weight goals. I believe that support is a critical piece needed for true success in building a plant-powered lifestyle. Now let's talk about how to build good nutrition when eating a plant-based diet. I remember a student of mine in the Plant-Powered Life Transformation course sharing about an experience she had with her cardiology doctor. This doctor told her she could try to change her diet to avoid surgery for blocked arteries, but essentially left it at that. He didn't tell her how to change her way of eating to improve her health. There was no guidance, and he was even later surprised that she took his advice and made positive diet changes. In fact, after this student focused a lot more on plant-based eating, she found she was able to drop one diabetes medication and the blockage in her arteries had decreased greatly too. If you had a similar experience with your doctor, doesn't that just feel so frustrating? To be told by your doctor that things needed to change diet-wise, but to be given no guidance on how to actually do it? Are you tired of figuring out what foods to eat and wondering whether you're getting enough nutrients in the process? That's why I want to talk about plant-based diet nutrition today, so you will know how to get good nutrition when eating plant-based. I want to provide you clear insight, direction, and guidance so you can feel less worried about whether you're getting enough nutrition eating this way. Today, we're going to look at 3 simple strategies you can use that will help you build the best nutrition as you are plant-based eating. This is important to discuss because I want to help you build a strong framework or foundation with these 3 guiding strategies that you can easily apply to each plant-based meal you make. That way, you can optimize your health transformation and build the best nutrition for both yourself and loved ones as you make this transition. So, what are they? Let's dive into them now. Here's the first strategy. Always focus on real whole plant-based foods. When I say this, I'm referring to plant-based foods that come in as natural a state as possible. This means unprocessed and minimally processed whole plant-based foods, such as whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, and fungi like mushrooms. These are the most naturally nutrient-packed foods on the planet. They come with vitamins, minerals, protein, fiber, phytochemicals, and disease-fighting compounds, which are beneficial components that are hard to replicate entirely in commercially processed foods. Within whole grains, this would mean intact whole grains, or as close as possible to intact whole grains, such as brown rice, buckwheat groats, quinoa, steel-cut oats or rolled oats, versus highly processed refined grains like white bread, white rice, and white pasta. Often, though, I find many are so worried about the adequacy of their intake that they start relying on multiple dietary supplements to meet their perceived quote-unquote needs. But actually, you can get better nutrition if you focus on maximizing your meals first with whole plant-based foods. It's also really easy to just use supplements as a nutritional crutch and get lazy in your plant-based eating. Now, I'm not saying no supplements. In fact, I will provide guidance in future episodes on a few specific recommended dietary supplements for plant-based eaters, but this is not as many as you think, and spoiler alert, most of these are also recommended for those on regular meat-based diets too. Now onto the second strategy. This is make your meals colorful. Making meals colorful is another easy yet effective way to build good nutrition. It makes plant-based meals more interesting and visually pleasing, too. Think about a fruit salad made with bright blue fresh blueberries, orange clementine wedges, pink strawberries, green apple chunks, and red watermelon. A visual delight, isn't it? Whenever I bring such a colorful fruit salad to a potluck, it gets eaten up by the end of the event. But the best part is that by making your meals colorful, you'll also be benefiting from the nutrients gathered into that bowl from the variety of different colored ingredients. I once had a client who used a simple method to help her build more colorful meals. For 1 week, she took pictures of her food and found that this really helped her to see how colorful her meals really were or weren't. And then she could take steps to add more color to them. I think that's a smart strategy. Now here's the third simple yet effective strategy I want to share. Add in variety. Here's why this is important. Remember the many different categories of whole plant-based foods I mentioned previously? The fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and legumes? Well, each plant-based food within these categories has a specific and unique set of nutrients beneficial to our bodies. Here's just a small example to show you what I mean. When you compare 100 grams of hulled hemp seeds with 100 grams of chia seeds, you'll see a big difference in their nutritional profile. Although the iron levels are similar, 100 grams of hemp seeds gives you nearly double the amount of protein, twice the amount of magnesium, and 3 times the amount of potassium as chia seeds. On the other hand, 100 grams of chia seeds gives you 631 milligrams of calcium, which is 9 times that of hemp seeds, and nearly 9 times more fiber too. So to make your meals as nutrient-rich as possible, try to include a wide variety of plant-based ingredients on your plate regularly. This way, you'll best benefit from the different levels of macro and micronutrients found in each plant-based food, and the variety will make your meals more enjoyable too. So today we talked about 3 simple, smart strategies you can use to help you get good nutrition as you move into plant-based eating. These are to 1. Always focus on real, whole plant-based foods. 2. Make your meals colorful. And 3. Find ways to add in variety. Here's a small action step I encourage you to take this week. Try out the color strategy. Simply pick one meal this week and see if you can add at least 4 to 5 colors to it. This can apply to a leafy green salad, a fruit salad, a stir-fry, roasted vegetable dish, soup, stew, or other entree. Try to make it colorful with a variety of different colored vegetables or fruits. I hope this episode helped you to gain more clarity and confidence in your plant-based diet transition. I do go into these and other nutrition maximizing strategies in more depth within my online Plant Powered Life Transformation course. So if you're wanting to build a plant-powered lifestyle and optimize your nutrition, I invite you to check out the Plant Powered Life Transformation course to see if it's right for you. This online course will equip you with the essential tools you need to master the basics of plant-based eating and succeed long-term in this lifestyle. There are 30 core video lessons, PDF guides, supporting videos, and tasty whole food plant-based recipes. Get more details about this course at plantnourish.com/PPLT course. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please take a moment to rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or on iTunes. Knowing how this podcast has made a difference in your life never fails to light me up. I may also select your review to be read on the show. Remember that moving to plant-based eating can be simple and doable, even with your existing health challenges and busy lifestyle. If you have a plant-based diet question you'd like me to answer on this show, share that question with me using the contact options in the show notes. Thanks for joining me today, and I can't wait to connect with you again in the next episode. Until next time, keep plant-focused and thriving, my friend.